Welcome back, football fans. This is Play Action Takes, presented by Apollo Media. Brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go check them out today if you're in the Houston area. They've got 13 locations all over the place, so check them out if you're in Houston. We are back with another division preview. They're just gulping away over here.
Beer from Big City.
Beer from Big City. Go check them out. It's great.
Stop.
Stop. Yeah, it's over. This podcast is done.
Over.
We're back to present you another division preview in the NFL. It's not a talked about division heading into the season by the mainstream people, but we at Play Action Takes and Apollo Media, we will take care of your team today, here, and now in the NFC South. The NFC South preview is here, boys. How do we feel about the NFC South as a whole before we jump into teams individually?
Oh, I think it's just great. I think it's just great.
I think there's at least two abysmal teams in this division. Very abysmal. One maybe more abysmal than the other. It might surprise you, but the top two are just like, here's the deal. Do you even see a Super Bowl contender within this division? No, probably not. Right?
No.
And that's why it's boring. It's like they're not going to be able to make some noise unless they get one of them gets an easy path or something. Right. So I don't see any of these teams being for real, you know? None of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's we said this last season when we previewed the entire season. We did over-unders for every single team in one episode, and that was a real problem. That was a long episode. It was a real issue. So we're breaking it up division by division this time in each episode. So, when you look at these over-unders, it doesn't look good. There's one that it would be above 500 in the over-under club in the NFC South, and that's never something you want to see in a division. If you want to watch good football, good division matchups, good rivalries, you want to see over-unders over 9, 10 even if you're really good. We got one of those in this division, and everything else is 7 or 5. So it's not great. It's not great to look at.
Sucks too because it's wrong. It's bad and wrong. So
we will get to them last, Garrett.
Okay.
We went in alphabetical order for this one. The last episode, we just kind of did it by teams that I liked and teams that I didn't like towards the end. So NFC South, we'll kick it off. Alphabetical order. The Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Chains joins the team. Kirk Cousins. Raheem Morris is their new head coach. A real offense for Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Not a big deal. Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. Welcome to the Atlanta Falcons. Welcome to the A, as they say, down south in the dirty South. That just happened in the last 24 hours. We're recording this Friday, August 16th. So, Matthew Judon, Justin Simmons, reinforcements for the Atlanta Falcons defense while adding Kirk Cousins and a new head coach and Michael Penix Jr. for some reason. They kind of did that. But, those are the key additions. Key losses, they drafted Michael Penix Jr. instead of, Dallas Turner or literally anything else in the draft.
They had a great offseason from the one thing other than the one thing that they did with Michael Penix. I'll still never understand it. I think it was just overthinking. They were just overthinking. But other than that, they've had a stellar offseason. Offseason with their additions, with their coaching, their new coaching cycle. The coaching cycle was good to them. They got some new coaches in there. Yeah. They look good. They look good on paper. You know, I mean, they look like a playoff team on paper for sure.
They do. They look good. I like Kirk. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have given him that contract. I wouldn't, especially the duration of that contract. I wouldn't have done. I don't hate the Penix pick as much as everyone else. It is goofy. But I know recently the GM said the reason for it was because they don't plan to be picking in the top 10 anytime soon, which I get, I guess. And if you think that he's going to be the guy, he's looked good in the preseason. So who knows? We'll all be sitting here with cake on our face or whatever it is. I know, but we'll all be sitting here looking dumb. If in a few years, if they win with Kirk and then in a few years Penix is ready and he's balling too, the move will look genius. But we'll see. But yes, they had a good offseason. Before the Judon and the Justin signing, I was kind of iffy on them. I thought they were getting overhyped. I'll give them some credit though. I mean, they put together a good team. They already had the pieces. They had Bijan, they have Pitts, they got Drake London, who's due for a big year. They got some guys. This is definitely one of the most intriguing teams to me in the league.
Yeah, and you're getting a McVay Shanahan hybrid tree coach, and the only coach that hasn't really succeeded to come out of that tree is Robert Saleh, and he was given the New York Jets, which is probably one of the toughest jobs in the NFL in general because they're the Jets. Sorry.
They suck. They suck.
They do. They do. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180 million is a lot of money. And the last time that we've seen a quarterback on the edge of his prime, like we could still say Kirk Cousins is in his prime if he's healthy. He was very good the year before. Then he was pretty good last season toward his Achilles. The last two quarterbacks that I can remember that have left on the edge of their prime to a new team in a big money free agency deal or a trade, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, two of the best three quarterbacks of all time, essentially. No one else has really done that. Phillip Rivers, Big Ben never left, but he fell off real hard there. Russell Wilson's on his third team since the edge of his prime, and we saw how that worked in Denver, and we're seeing how it's going to work into Pittsburgh this season. So I'm curious to see how it works. I think you got a good coach. There haven't been ones to really fail out of the Shanahan tree or just like completely fall on their face in year one, like they show a little bit of promise. But they already got a team. Their over-under is 9.5. Like they should win this division, and they should. I know some of you might rebuttal this, but if they don't win this division, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing on them.
Oh, if they don't win this division, this is going to be the worst division imaginable.
Yes,
because we're
gonna have an 8-win team in the playoffs hosting a playoff game.
Yeah, we're gonna get something like that. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a terrible, bad, no good division. But I see them smashing that over with at minimum 10 wins. Minimum 10 wins. They could get up to 12 now that they have reinforcements on defense. Judon's good. Simmons is great.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they've only gotten better. They've only gotten better since the start of the free agency period, or since the start of offseason. So
they have one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen in my life. Like they're obviously playing that division does help, but even they're out there outside of their division, they have some cakewalks. So yeah, I mean just adding to that, if they don't get 10 wins, which because they obviously should, if they don't get 10 wins, this someone's got to get fired. Like at the end of the day, and I know it's Raheem Morris's first year. I don't know what their GM situation's like, but they have to do something because of also just up until this point, the mismanagement of Bijan last year. I know Arthur is an awful coach, and we all know this, right? But even Kyle Pitts has been there for a while too, and he's supposed to be some big dog, right? Yeah, where's he been? So something's got to happen, and this is the year they got to show that, all right, they're obviously going all in with these signings that just happened literally yesterday or the trade. So they got to do it, and if they don't win the division, I'm sorry. And if Kirk is even kind of bad, ooh, it's going to be trouble in A-Town.
It's going to be a problem. I want to point out the Atlanta Falcons drafting Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, first and foremost. Both of those guys. And Devontae Smith, if you wanted to add him in there.
I don't blame him in the moment. He looked like a home run.
He looked great, but Kyle Trask hasn't even sniffed a starting spot.
Yeah.
Since he left Florida. I don't know. But that's the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to take the over, regardless of their draft choices in recent years.
Yeah, no, you got to take that over, and if they don't, then there needs to be pitchforks and torches outside the stadium.
I'd be pissed if I was an Atlanta fan and we got under 9 wins. I'd be fucking pissed.
God.
Dude.
Well, the good thing is there's no Atlanta fans to even worry about. They're all Braves fans, and no one else cares. So that's about it.
And also, let me just add this. I mean, Kirk coming off that injury, his old ass coming off that injury, and giving him a 4-year deal like that, it makes no sense to me. And if you're going to draft Penix anyway, why are you doing that? Ugh.
Yeah, God. If Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers come back and they're really fucking good, then I'll eat my words. I don't see it happening very quickly for either of them. An Achilles injury for anyone 35 and up seems kind of like a death sentence, and it's not
Aaron's
anymore.
So much
but
better. Aaron's so much better too. Yeah. I think it's way more likely for him to have a good season than Kirk.
He's a top 3 quarterback in his generation. I know we'll save the AFC East. Maybe we'll just do AFC East and NFC East next day. We'll do that the next time we record, and you can talk about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson.
I'd love to. I can't wait.
Yeah, the Falcons should be good. They should win the division, and if they don't, something went horribly wrong. We'll move on. Alphabetical order. Carolina Panthers over under. Can you all guess?
I don't even want to know.
I know, but guess what the number is.
5.5. I saw it.
Okay. Yeah, 5.5.
Sorry, I looked at the notes. Hey, sorry, I studied the notes before the show.
You're good. I'm glad someone.
I did too. I was just I didn't. I just know they're not getting 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 is steep. if you
Their
ask
line
me.
should be 3.5, and I'm so serious.
So they lose Brian Burns. They traded him to the Giants. So they're like one good defensive player is gone. Their offense is abysmal, to say the least. Your quarterback is not C.J. Stroud. It is Bryce Young. When you had the opportunity to draft C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young seems to be far too small to play the position in the NFL. He looks so small out there. Like, is he 5'8"? Is he me? Just running around out there, just getting murdered by defensive linemen all the time.
It's Tony. It'd be like you under center.
It looks horrifyingly small. Like,
yeah.
Kyler looks really small, but at least he's fast as shit. Bryce Young he's still your quarterback, and you lost Brian Burns. Those are your key losses. I didn't even bother looking at who they drafted because they didn't have draft picks. 1, 2, who they added in free agency. They added Robert Hunt, offensive line for the Dolphins last season, and they gave him $125 million. He's worth maybe 50 on a 5.
That's crazy. What are they doing?
$100+ million for Robert Hunt it's insane. I'm so happy for Robert. You go get your bag, big guy. Go live in Carolina. Like, live your best life. But $100 million for that man is just,
he must have some dirt on Tepper or something. Like, he must have
no, they're just desperate to fucking protect their quarterback. They can't let get hit because as soon as he gets hit, they can't push the ball down the field anymore because he's scared. He's a little kid out there.
He's terrible. He looks smaller than Kyler, and Kyler looks like.
I was talking about
he's more built and he's more athletic. Bryce is that height and like skinny as a rail and can't run like Kyler like at all. I don't understand this, and we all were wrong. I mean, let's not act like we were all thinking, Bryce is going to be good. We're like, he looks great. Like, maybe Garrett was higher on CJ, but a lot of people were like, Bryce is going to be the best quarterback, and I don't know how any of us thought that.
I watched that SEC championship game against Georgia when they won, and I would not the national championship. National championship, I'm wiping that one from the memory, but the SEC championship game, watching Bryce Young, I was like, oh man, they got another quarterback that's about to just go #1 overall for shits and giggles. Like, whatever. I don't trust the coach. I don't trust the quarterback. You have nothing on defense. Adam Thielen is your wide receiver 1 because you traded DJ Moore and 27 other things for the #1 pick to get Bryce Young.
Who's the coach again? Wait, who's the coach again? I forgot.
Google. Here we go. Carolina.
I don't remember.
I don't even either.
The thing about you know what sucks about Carolina too?
It's Canales. Dave Canales.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he does.
He was the offensive coordinator for the Bucks last year.
That seems great.
That
seems awesome.
Nothing can go. What can go wrong?
After technical difficulties due to the man in New York, people in Texas have great internet apparently, but people in New York can't get it.
We're all sharing the same Wi-Fi. It's hard up here. Okay.
It doesn't matter anymore because Carolina Panthers over under is 5.5. We're all taking the under. They're dead to us. It doesn't matter. The team's gonna stink. It's fine. We'll move on to the next team. Alphabetical order once again. New Orleans Saints over under 7.5. Key additions: Chase Young, Willie Gay, Fuaga, which I can't pronounce his first name. He's an offensive tackle from Washington in the draft that they took the first round. Kool-Aid McKinstry, best name in college football history. Arguably, cornerback from Bama, and Spencer Rattler, who's arguably going to be their starter here in a minute because they might trade Derek Carr. I don't know.
Yeah.
Welcome to the New Orleans Saints. Their key loss is Dennis Allen's still their head coach, and their QB is still Derek Carr for now. So not great. Welcome to New Orleans, where football's great.
Yeah. I kind of think New Orleans is a sneaky contender to be the worst team in the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
not a.
I thought you were going to contend for the NFC South. I was like, no,
I think they're a sneaky dark horse, like worst team in the NFL, type beat. I can see them winning 2 games, depending on. I think their roster is pretty bad. They have some young, promising players like Kool-Aid McKinstry. Marshawn Lattimore should be out the door at trade deadline. I would be already.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be ready to go. Dennis Allen is terrible.
Yeah, I can't believe he still has a job. It blows my mind.
I can't either. They needed to get a new head coach a long time ago. After Peyton left, they're like DA's fine. They're just settling for fine. Yeah. But now it's at the point where these fine players, like all the fine players, Derek Carr is probably not going to be very good. He's probably going to get benched for Spencer's
Spencer's going to start the season, dude. I'm telling you,
Spencer Rattler, I don't think is going to be very good at all. Like, what are we doing here?
No.
they're settling for fine to like less than fine.
Yeah.
They have a bad cap situation. Yeah, I think there's no juice behind this team.
There's
I
not.
think it'd be bad.
And it's sad because, you know, I loved watching Drew there through his career. They were just a fun team. I always liked watching the Saints, always respected the Saints. And it's just such a fall from grace. Like Garrett mentioned, their cap space, they're just an absolute hell. They're I don't know how they figure this out. I think first move is to get rid of Dennis Allen. They're like Garrett said, maybe 2 wins. Maybe they'll get that first overall pick. He can grab a quarterback, maybe Carson Beck out of Georgia. Maybe I don't know if that's even going to solve anything there. Kool-Aid, we'll see. I mean, if Kool-Aid's good and they have Marshall and Lattimore back there, maybe that can be something they build that defense around. But there's just too many holes for them to do anything this year.
Yeah, it's the worst news in football when every talking head, every person in the NFL that has a voice and any like a scout, a player, whatever, is like bashing your head coach. Like everyone knows that Dennis Allen's not a good head coach.
Yeah.
And they will say it publicly and privately. Yeah. And you continually retain him after having a somewhat good head coach. Like he obviously won you a Super Bowl and was getting in the playoffs year in and year out, basically. But like Sean Payton's not the best head coach ever. No. And you kept him along far too long. Like you probably should have killed him off after the NFC Championship game in with LA, and where you probably should have gotten a interference call and theoretically could have won the game, but you still threw a pick and it didn't matter.
They had the ball in overtime.
You should have won that game 3 times, but it's fine. Kept him too long, and then all of a sudden he leaves. Dennis Allen, he's great. He's been with the organization. Let's just throw him in. It hasn't worked. It won't work. Why are we still doing this? I don't know why they continue to do it, but here we are. And yeah, Garrett, I don't know if they can win only 2 games. I think they can win more. There's enough talent, but
I hope for their sake,
them or Carolina. Like them or Carolina is going to be the worst team in the division.
Yeah, I think Carolina has more juice than them. I think they have enough. They did enough in the offseason to make enough changes. This is just the same Saints team, just with Chase Young and Kool-Aid McKinstry and a tackle that. I mean, Ryan Ramczyk is out for the season. He's out for the season, but he's out for right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no juice behind this team. They need to tank and get first overall and get a new quarterback and get ready. They need to get ready. They need a new coach. They need to get ready.
Alvin Kamara is 30. Like you know what I mean? Like there's just everyone that was one of their bright spots on the team for, you know, obviously when Drew was there, but he's old, he's washed. I don't know what they do. And Spencer Rattler, apparently he's looked good in camp. I'll put that on the table. Apparently they've been like he looks okay. So and Spencer Rattler's been a guy who's kind of gone up and down the totem pole of quarterback prospects. 2022, they were like he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, and then he just was ass. So we'll see. Maybe he has something, but I hope for their sake they only win 1 or 2 games and then go grab a quarterback or grab somebody who's going to be a game changer.
I was doing a Sporkle quiz the other day. It was like the most recent 4 or 5 1,000-yard rushers for each and every team in the NFL. The most recent. So like the Dolphins, Jay Ajayi was like the last one on there. And that was 2016. So that's a good bit ago. The Saints' last 1,000-yard rusher was like 2018, 2019. I was like, oh, it's got to be Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara has never rushed for 1,000 yards.
No, I did.
That's insane.
I tried that on Immaculate Grid one day, and I was like, 1,000-yard rusher, Alvin Kamara. Fucking said it wrong. It was red.
He's never done it. He's either hurt or he just doesn't run. I mean, he catches the ball, he scores touchdowns, he does all the things.
He's a dual threat guy. I mean, we'll give him credit on that. I mean, that's where he most of his playmaking ability comes, catching passes out of the backfield.
Absolutely, but not having 1,000 yards in the NFL is one of the most dumbfounding things I've ever come across. Like I had Jay Ajayi. Anyone remember that name outside of Dolphins?
I love Jay Ajayi, dude.
2016, and then the Eagles and started a fight and got cut. Basically, it was all great. Yeah. I'm going to take the under on the Saints. I think everyone's here with us on that. They suck, and the division sucks. So last team, y'all's team apparently pre-show we were talking about it, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over under 7.5 key additions or keeping everybody on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, Levante David all sign new contracts and stay with the team. I wrote down key losses. Running it back doesn't mean postseason success or even winning the division in 2024. Was it a fluke? Was it a flash in the pan last season with Baker? Or are we getting the same team and they're going to win 9 games or 10 games and they're going to just sneak into the playoffs and then they're going to beat a terrible Eagles team because they lost like 8 out of their last 9 games. Are we getting that again,
No.
or are we getting the team that's not going to make the playoffs? I don't know.
It's going to be up to Baker. You know, it's going to be up to Baker to string together 2. He's never done this. He's never strung together 2 good seasons in a row. He's never done that in his career. He's had like good rookie season, good 3rd year. Now he had a good 5th year or whatever is like. Could he have a good 6th year? Is this the year where he has a good 2 good years in a row? It's going to be up to Baker. He's got his bag. You know, you got your bag with Tampa. You found your new home. You're a Pro Bowler last year. Yep. Can you do it? I think you can. But I think it's more like 10 wins is their ceiling right now. I think 10 wins is their ceiling, which is enough to get in the playoffs, maybe.
Yeah.
But it might win the division.
Might win the division at 10 wins. You know, who knows? Who knows how Kirk will be looking? But
10 wins wins that division. The Falcons are just in absolute hell. I mean, that's terrible. I don't know. I liked him last year, and I've been a Baker. Baker's an OU guy. I hate him. We despise him. He's one of my least favorite people in the entire world up until a few years ago, or even till last year. Honestly, whenever he went through everything, going from Carolina, and then he had the game with the Rams where everyone was freaking out, and then he gets the starting job in Tampa. Then watching him last season, it just was fun. And I was like, he's an underdog now. He is. He's an underdog. People doubt him, and that's what I enjoy. And enjoy an underdog, especially a quarterback. So I like Baker. I like the team, man. Mike Evans coming back's huge. Rashad White's nice. Cade Otton's a serviceable tight end. I mean, he's definitely got some upside. On the defensive side of the ball, like Levante David's still there. Antoine Winfield's a dog. Like, they got some pieces here where they can make a run. Their head coach is definitely an interesting situation. I don't know about – is it still Todd?
It's still Todd Bowles.
Yeah, it's Todd.
I don't know. They should have got a new head coach, but the thing is, he went to the playoffs, the second round of playoffs.
Yeah,
last year with them, so you can't really fire him for that.
I get it. I think he has somewhat of a ceiling, and like the Buccaneers are not a Super Bowl contender at all. And it would be crazy if they became one throughout the course of the season, but they're not right now. But I would be extremely happy to see. I don't know. I just don't like the Falcons. I think because I would be really happy to see the Buccaneers just kick their ass in this division. I think that would be hilarious. So I'm hoping for it, but I don't know. I think they're a 9-win team.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you guys: Todd Bowles was the Miami Dolphins head coach at one point.
Didn't know that.
He was an interim head coach, but yeah, in
Mr. Interim,
2011. 2011.
Just make him Mr. Interim.
Yeah, I mean, assistant head coach, secondary coach from 2008 to 2011, and then interim head coach and secondary coach for 2011. So the rest of the season he took over, and he sucked. So
terrible coach, but he's got a good roster. So if they had a different head coach, I would easily say over, but I'm still going to say over regardless. I think they win. At least they win 8 games.
Yeah.
They win at least 8 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I trust in Baker to have a good season again. So
yeah,
he's got the weapons. He's got a good offense around him. So let's do it. Let's go.
They kept Tristan Wirfs. Like, they paid him, so he's not going to be holding out. And he gets to
he's incredible.
They're buddies, too, Baker and Wirfs. They did a whole video on it after he signed his deal, and they were all excited and doing, like, piggyback rides and shit. So good for them, I guess. Tampa's not the worst place to live. I wouldn't prefer to live there, but, it's fine. It's sunny. You get a lot of rain whenever you get a bay.
You're in Florida.
You're in Florida. You can play a lot of good golf. If you're a golfer, like, there's plenty of good golf in the Florida area. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I don't trust them as much as I trust Atlanta, but they should be fine. 8 wins, 9 wins. They could get there easy, I think. 10
They're
wins.
A dark horse. They're a dark horse team to make a. I'm not saying a Super Bowl run, but a good playoff run. They really are. Yeah.
Surprise team. Yeah, they get Dallas in the first round, and Dallas just does what Dallas does in the first round of the playoffs. So we get a hurt Eagles team again. We could do that all over again. It'd be great.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was a good game. I enjoyed that, except for Jason Kelce. I like Jason Kelce. I can't help it. I like the Kelce voice. Like, it is what it is. So I feel bad for him. But other than that, fuck the Eagles. Fuck the NFC South in general. Like, I don't really like any of these teams. They all disgust me. Essentially, this whole division is just terrible to look at. It's not appealing. A lot of terrible uniforms. Saints are fine, but they're not great. Everything about this division is just gross.
It's just hard to watch. Yeah.
There's just not a lot of juice. There's just not a lot of juice behind this division. You know, I mean, there's some mid teams, some 2 okay teams in the grand scheme of things. I mean, so.
And all four teams are inherently boring. I mean,
yes.
if look, I like Baker. Baker's pretty boring at times. Kirk is extremely boring. I just think Kirk is not fun.
Baker's never boring.
Baker can be boring. I think the Buccaneers are the most exciting team in this division. But the Saints are also the most boring team ever. It's no fun. It's no fun. This is one of the, like, anytime, like, if any of our teams have like an NFC South team on the schedule, you're like, it's kind of a boring game. I'm ready for next week when like the Chiefs are in town or something. Like,
let's see what kind of trick plays they pull out in this game. Like, what kind of bullshit can we do?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's when you're up by 30 against them. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the NFC South. Next episode, we'll bring you a different division. We'll just keep marching through on the way to the season. We're getting closer, boys. It's August 16th. Football's in the air. Week 0's next week. Week 1 the week after that for college football, and then we're in September. Once we hit September, boys,
we're off and running, baby. We're off and running with the sports. We're guilty as charged with the sports.
Thursday night, Saturday college football, Sunday night, Monday night, and then we're gonna get Wednesday games this year. Like we're getting fucking crazy. We're gonna hit every day of the game. We've got all of Christmas. We're taking over from the NBA. NFL's just taking over Christmas. So like we'll take Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yep, thank you. Oh, New Year's, we'll take that as well. Why not? I mean, we're just taking them all. Take all the good holidays.
Yep. Also, even this weekend of preseason games, we're going to see a lot of starters play for an extended amount of time for most teams. So we're going to get a sneak peek at everything just coming up tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, so I'm excited.
Today and tomorrow, I believe. And
Texans play at noon tomorrow. That's cool.
That's
cool as hell.
Yeah,
so rad. And CJ Stroud's going to play like probably over a quarter,
maybe
at least a drive. At least a drive. Boys, that's been the NFC South preview. Thank you to Big City Wings for sponsoring this episode. Go check out Big City Wings. If you're in the Houston area, they've got 13 locations. These boys know all about Big City Wings, so you should too. Go check them out in the Houston area. Big City Wings, thank you for sponsoring this episode. This has been Play Action Takes, Paulo Meany's NFL podcast.
Watch football.